Are you finding that you're self-sabotaging in your business? Self-sabotage almost always has some hidden underlying belief that locks you into that same routine over and over and over without your awareness or even your permission. That's what this video is going to be about today. So, what are some common signs that you might actually be self sabotaging? I'm going to give you three. Number one is that you might be doing other activities that are actually easier. You might be doing those to put off crucial things that you need to do to get to your goals. And usually we'll end up doing something easier like a hobby or house chores or something that doesn't take a whole lot of brain power and we don't feel a lot of resistance to. Another sign you might be self sabotaging is that you're in the same spot that you were 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago. If you're finding that when you look back, you can't really see milestones on your business, on your career, whatever it is you're working on, then you're probably self sabotaging and you're caught in a loop of doing that along the way anytime you try to go to a goal. Number three is that you spend a lot of time planning and not a lot of time actually executing on those plans. I was personally guilty of this. I used to spend tons of time just planning and never actually executing on the situation. I would just try to perfect it and try to even compensate for every, obscure situation that might arise, every anomaly, right? I would try to plan for them all and try to make it perfect when perfection doesn't even exist in the first place. Some of you watching this might even feel not so great because you feel like you've been taking action the past couple of years. You've been doing the processes, you've been doing the steps, you've been doing everything that you can, right? And it feels defeating. It feels like punishing to your self-esteem, actually. I know because I was once there too. I was doing all the steps, I was doing everything my mentors were telling me to, and I still wasn't getting anywhere. And the bigger question for me became not what do I feel like now, but what will it feel like in the future 5 years when I still haven't made any progress? What will that feel like? That's much worse. So, what's the cause of this? Why does this even happen in the first place? Well, I'm going to argue that you don't actually fully believe in taking that action, where you might know logically that this is probably the right action to do. You don't feel fully like doing it, it's not fully ingrained into your beliefs. And if I was to ask you, if you didn't believe that you could succeed as a business owner, would you start a business? The answer is probably no, right? You wouldn't even start in the first place. You wouldn't even try. And so imagine this concept spread out over an entire day of thousands of decisions that we make. We make thousands of decisions every single day. And so as you make those thousands of decisions, imagine how many times inevitably you're going to come up against decisions where you either have one path to go on or the other, and your beliefs are keeping you from going towards the progressive path, towards actually doing something that's going to bring you closer to your goals, because oftentimes taking that path is the less comfortable one. So oftentimes our beliefs trying to keep us comfortable, trying to keep us safe, are going to keep us away from these paths that actually would bring us success over time, but we're scared because we're used to that comfort and we know that that's safe. So you're going to have these little beliefs along the way that are self-sabotaging you and keeping you in this loop and keeping you from progressing further. And it's almost like a thermostat, like keeping your temperature down anytime you try to raise it. And you probably feel this even in your business. When you try to raise your energy up, it's like you feel this burnout, right? And that's literally your thermostat, your self-worth, or your beliefs keeping you from the success that you don't believe you're worthy of achieving. These beliefs inside of our minds have narratives, and they can be called stories. They sound like this: I'm not worthy of succeeding, or the universe is against me, right? Or even if I do succeed, the universe will take it away from me. That's another one that's kind of linked to that. Or I'm not capable. That's a really popular one. I'm not capable of selling. I'm not capable of talking to strangers. I'm not capable of succeeding at X, whatever that is. Or it might be, whatever that is doesn't work. I don't believe that going out and talking to people is going to help me make money, right? So I'm not going to do it. I don't believe that ads are going to help me make sales, so I won't do them. I don't believe that I should hire somebody to help me scale my business, so I won't do it. And so if you believe that something isn't going to work or that the way that you're doing it is the only way, which also happens a lot of the time, then you're literally cutting yourself off from an opportunity to progress because of that belief. And something you absolutely have to understand here is that down to the core, our brains are wired to keep us alive. Before anything else, before your goals, your dreams, whatever else you can think of, your brain is going to do its absolute best to keep you alive. And over time, we begin to associate failure with horrible things like death, with pain. And so we start to avoid those things. And when we meet too much of it, our brain may just shut down, stop taking risks at all. And so, if this is what's happening, and this is likely what is happening if you are in a self sabotaging loop, is if your methods are not working, you have to open your mind to a shift in your beliefs. Something else that's important to understand here is that your brain really wants to be right. It needs it. And so it's going to use its genius level abilities to self-fulfill on whatever it is you're doing, no matter what process, what method, what step-by-step that you're doing. It's going to do it in a way that gets the result that you believe you deserve. This is so important because no matter what, you might even be doing the exact same thing as everyone else, but how you approach it determines the results you get out of it. Now, just as a fun exercise, imagine walking up to someone at the mall, a stranger you've never met, and following the exact same script every time you do it, but maybe getting a different result. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm just here at the mall looking for some company. Want to get lunch? Hi, my name is Paul. I'm just here at the mall looking for some company. You want to get lunch? Hi, my name is Paul. I'm just here at the mall looking for some company. You want to get lunch? Now look at those 3 different examples of how I said the exact same words each time, but they felt completely different. Most likely, first time you felt kind of neutral. Maybe you'd say yes, maybe you'd say no. Second time, much more confident, right? And you're much more likely to say yes to someone who appears to be a good time to hang out with, right? And the third one, maybe not so attractive. Maybe you weren't really feeling the vibe on that one. So that's just an example of how we show up can vastly change how the result is going to be. And the reality is quite literally that people who show up as more confident get what they want more often than people who don't. There's a direct correlation between how much confidence you exude and how likely you are to get the result you desire. This way that you're showing up is drawn from your beliefs about yourself. Quite literally, how you go into a conversation, how you execute certain actions is going to be riddled with these little micro decisions that you've made, thousands of them, as you execute, and it's going to come off and determine your result. And so you might be wondering at this point, how do we reveal these little hidden beliefs that are keeping us from our goals? Well, it's quite simple. When you come up against a situation where you notice you self-sabotage, where you notice, hey, I delayed this, I went and did something else, I'm stuck here. Look at why you might have done that. Ask yourself actually why, and you may have to think deeply about this. This is often going to come up in the form of a trigger. Maybe you're trying to make sales calls one day and you just don't feel like doing it. Or maybe you're wanting to make content or whatever it is. You're going to have resistance, and that's the self-sabotage coming through. So at that moment, ask yourself why it's happening. And when you come up with an answer, it's probably not the right one yet. You need to ask why again, and then again, and then again, and then again, until you get to the deepest answer that you possibly can. Once you've done that, then you might have found your belief. Now, once you've identified that belief, there's only 2 things you can do to create a new one and reinforce that new belief as an actual identity. Number 1 is you have to change the narrative in your mind. There's a narrative, you've already uncovered it. It's that belief, I'm not enough, I can't do it, it doesn't work. Look at that narrative and prove to yourself that the opposite actually might be true. So you're changing your perspective of that belief, quite literally rewiring the belief. That's number 1. Number 2 is to prove it through action. Literally prove it to yourself that it does work, that you can, that you're enough through taking action despite what you actually think you believe about yourself. That's it. Now, if you've been taking action month after month, year after year, and finding that you're still in the same spot as before, maybe you're even feeling like a new method or a new process is going to help. I'm going to tell you right now, I promise you it will not. No software, no step-by-step process, no secret method is going to erase that internal identity loop that you are stuck with, keeping you in self-sabotage. However, I have a course that does. My online course Spark helps you find those hidden beliefs and bring them to the surface so you can rewire them, and your actions will actually create forward momentum towards your goals instead of keeping you in this loop of self-sabotage. When you're ready to stop holding yourself back, Spark is your chance to reset and move forward in life as someone who follows through. So go ahead and click the link below this video in the description and start the free first module.